Samtastic here with a new camera angle. I got a message from YouTube user Mathematics, spelled differently than one might expect. Anyway, he commented on my fan fix video and specifically requested that I do a video of removing the heatsink and fan from the laptop itself, because just the angle that I was working with when I made that video, I had already removed it, etc., etc. So I told him that I would try to put that up the next day, and it's been a couple of days and I haven't done that yet. I realized that, and the reason is because my car broke, actually, and that's not good, because I really do need my car for a lot of stuff. So I spent about 2 days on a big project where I dismantled half of it and removed the starter and fixed it. So the first time that I used my camera, I went ahead and just hit record on it just for kicks. I took a mini mag light and I just held it against the webcam and stuck it down in the engine so I could try to look at what was going on there. And that cable is the bane of me. That one. So I think that's the mounting bracket. And I need to get those two bolts off. That's what it feels like. That's all connected, so my book says it's 1 bolt, but the camera says it's 2. Because the bolts that held the starter on were pretty much inaccessible, and I managed to get that to work with a bit of patience and innovation and WD-40. So I did get it all fixed, and I have a couple of vids of the process, so I'll go ahead and put those up to tie you over, and I will really do my best to get that other video up tonight, so that you can have your computer for school mathematics. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for streaming this, and here you go. So the reason I did get a specific request to make a video of actually removing the heatsink and fan from the laptop, and I am gonna make that video, and I am still gonna look up the computer that you've got and look at the manual and try to help you out as much as I can. But I've had a couple of stressful days here where I've been actually having to work on my car because the starter stopped working, and this right here is the starter and solenoid assembly, and this is what came out of the back of it when I pried it apart. And so I went into this whole thing. There was a lot of gunk. There was, which I'm a little concerned about. I'm not really sure what its deal is, but there are some, if I can find any here. This B1, they're dirty, so I'm hesitant to do too much of this. This is like a little metal shaving or something of some kind, metal, or I would assume it's metal. It's really brittle, and it was really dirty, and it was loose in pieces in there. So I cleaned all that out, and then somewhere in this vicinity I should have a particular article, not an article, but there it is. Alright. I got some engine assembly lube, which says use on camshaft bearings and lobes, crankshafts, engine bearings, gears, lifters, push rods, valve stems, and all areas of rotational or sliding metal-to-metal contact. And considering this is just like gears and an electromagnetic motor, I think that qualifies as metal-to-metal contact. So let's tear this on open. And mostly what I want right now is to make sure that the ball bearing that's on here, it's actually kind of a pain to get in because this whole thing is like filled with magnets inside, but this ball bearing, I want that to be clean, very, very clean, and have some fresh grease on it to make sure it stays lubricated. And one thing that I don't have right next to me is a way to open this bottle. So let me grab some wire cutters. We'll just clip that tip off at the mark. And now we have access. And so what I want to do is grab a towel and just get that bead and make sure it's wiped off really well. And clean around inside here. Make sure that's wiped off really well. Because while you're working on this, you may end up with little bits of dirt or hair or something that could potentially cause it to gunk up again, and in some cases actually damage the parts. And so I'm going to go ahead and put a bead of this lube right in there, and I'm going to set that bearing right into it. I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit down here as well inside this assembly, and I'm going to turn it away from you so that I can get light on it and I can see what I'm doing. And I'm hoping that this is going to do the trick. And it's going to make this run a little bit better, so my car will actually start. Because I don't know if I got to that, but my car stopped working altogether, and it seemed most obvious that it was the starter. And so I removed it, essentially. And to make sure this goes in the right way, it kind of pops itself into place. And we want that to fit in on there. We're going to need to make sure that's lined up, which is proving to be kind of a pain. There we go, I think that'd be it. And then just tap this closed. And I'm not sure if you're able to see this at all, so apologize for that, I got kind of into the moment here. This back has these two huge bolts that go into it, as well as two screws that go in these holes on the back of this. So this piece will actually I just tapped it with the screwdriver and pulled it off, and that's how I got in there in the first place. And I'd show you the whole thing, but I just closed it up and didn't think about it fast enough. So I'm just going to have that shut right now, and I'm going to get these cleaned off as well so that they're not going to be reintroducing the same gunk in there. And maybe put a little bit of grease on the heads of these just to make sure they don't stick or something in case I need to get back in there. Because these go on there pretty tight. Just a little bit. And just a little bit more. And in the process of this, I'm noticing that there seems to be a hair on the edge of this bottle, so we've already got contamination going on, I guess, from setting it down here. Not sure, but I'll wipe a little bit of that off just to make sure it's got a light coating. And I believe it's going to go in, let me tilt that back down. It goes in, if I can get these holes to line up. Oh boy, that's always fun and exciting. That's not something I was thinking about. So you get to see how to remove this as well. Just take good old anything. You don't have to hit it very hard. Oh, well, that's a pain. This little bit right here actually didn't line up. Ugh. I'm making this more difficult than it should be. I'm going to go ahead and stop recording just because this is actually needing my attention. This is not something that I normally do. I don't usually take my car apart. But I just kind of wanted to give an idea of what I'm dealing with, what this looks like. This little bit right here is what cranks the engine. And I'm going to go ahead and turn the camera back on when I'm ready to bench test it again, just because that part's pretty fun. So I'm going to devote my full attention to this for right now. Alright, so you can kind of see what's going on here. You see jumper cables. I already did the bench test on it just because I wanted to make sure it was working okay before I grab my computer back outside, and it seems to be sounding a lot better. I didn't record anything prior to cleaning this out, but I think regardless, you'll just have to take my word for it. It sounds better. So the first thing I do, I don't have heavy-duty rubber gloves. I'm wearing kitchen gloves. I'm working with kind of a low shop resources here. I got a lot of different tools, but at some points I just need to kind of make it up as I go. So that's the fun thing about working with mechanical stuff like this, is you can kind of get away with that. I'm going to move this wire out of the way and point that a little bit more at the starter. The black you can just clamp on the body of the starter, wherever, or basically the body of the any just a ground, just it does its trick. So and then you're supposed to connect this on that one right there, but you have to actually run power to the other one simultaneously, and if I recall correctly, it takes about 24 volts, and you may know that car batteries are 12. So what I use is, I don't know if you can see this, nope, way off there. So anyway, I'm trying to look at the weird angle on the screen here. I don't know what you can see exactly, but there's this bolt, and then there's this little contact down here, and both of them have to have a charge. This one actually is the only one that needs a charge for it to turn on, and this one has to have a charge to supply it with 24 volts, I believe, is how it works. So again, I am a total amateur at this, and this really isn't the best method, but it's all I have available to me right now. So we've got the screwdriver touching those two together, and you get a nice, comfy way of getting out of that. And when that pops out, that just means that you're activating the solenoid, that it's working, it's doing its job. And when it spins, that means the motor is working right. If it's not spinning but it pops out, that means that your solenoid's good and the motor's bad. And if it spins and doesn't pop out, that means your motor's good and your solenoid is bad. But fortunately mine was still working. It passed the first bench test, and so I just decided I should open it up and clean it. And that's exactly what I did. So that's all I'm going to show you with this for now. And I hope it at least eased some curiosity for some people. But yeah, I treat my computers the same way as I treat my cars. I run them too hot and I fix them myself. So there you have it. Okay, so now this is kind of the last thing that I'm working at here. I've got the starter back in there. I got this cool little lamp that I've been using. It's got a little clamp on it, and I just connected it to the extension cord. And it has been indispensable in working on this a lot. It's allowed me to work at night when it's cooler and much more bearable to be in this garage, and it's been really helpful. So I got the starter back in there, all of that's hooked up, and I still got to put the air filter back in there and connect it. But I appear to have everything going on there, and so I'm going to take a moment to hop in this direction. And here is, there we go. I got everything kind of stuffed over to all the trash that was in here. It got kind of stuffed right there. And that's going to get cleaned out, as well as, since I have the center console off, I have a lot of crud that's built up on this stuff over the time that I've had the car and over the time the previous owners had the car. So drink spills and whatever else. And so I'm going to vacuum all this up, and it's going to be much happier for it there. So that's the silver lining. And this is, yeah, you can see I've got this all pulled apart because I had to disable the, I didn't have to, but I disabled the airbags so that I wouldn't accidentally set them off when I was messing with the shifter cable in that section there. So this is the awesome thing that I wanted to show. And yeah, I got a lot of belt noise there, I'm aware of that, but the fact of the matter is my car starts easily. So
yeah, I fixed it, and I'm really happy about that. So I'm getting poor system performance, so this is going to make me sound weird. I'll do the follow-up from my desktop.